Hi everyone, this is Remshay Ahmed, a journalist from Pakistan, and joining me today is Hamdullah Hamdard, a political expert from Afghanistan. And today we will be talking about the Bagram Airbase in Afghanistan. Bagram Airfield was America's most important military hub in Afghanistan for 2 decades, a runway, a logistics town, and a prison. In the summer of 2021, US forces quietly vacated the base. It was soon looted and then taken by the Taliban. Today, years later, Bagram is at the center of a furious tug of war. Former US leaders privately and publicly urging a return, the Taliban and regional powers refusing to hand over the site, and Moscow warning the United States against any attempt to reclaim it. In this episode, we'll unpack Bagram's history, what changed in 2021, and why the base still matters for Afghan sovereignty and great power politics. At its peak, it was effectively a small town. Runways lengthened to handle the largest cargo aircraft, capacity for thousands of troops, major logistics node into Afghanistan, and location of the Parwan detention facility. It was central to air operations, medevac, large-scale cargo, and special operations support. The Taliban took control of the airfield in 2021 August and have used it for military parades, symbolic displays, and to repurpose abandoned US hardware. The base is a visible trophy of the end of the US presence. In 2025, President Donald Trump publicly argued the US should get Bagram back, calling the 2021 withdrawal a mistake and at times threatening bad things if the Taliban don't cede the base. These statements drew immediate denials from US officials and strong rejection from the Taliban and regional players. Reports say US discussions about the base had been raised in the previous months, but official US policy statements denied plans to re-establish forces on Afghan soil. Russian officials publicly condemned any US attempt to reclaim Bagram and framed it as a revisionist move, arguing Afghanistan's sovereignty must be respected. Russia, alongside China, Pakistan, and Iran, in many statements, has pushed back against re-establishing foreign military bases in Afghanistan. Now, why does this matter? Bagram sits near roots of regional strategic interest. Any US attempt to retake the base, there would be a clash with the Taliban's insistence on sovereignty and with regional powers' concerns about renewed external military presence.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the Ham and Ram show. Today we discuss Bagram not as a rumor, not as a political slogan, but as a critical national security question for Afghanistan. Recently, statements from former US leaders and current leaders have reignited global speculation. Could America return to Bagram? What would that mean for Afghanistan, for the region, and for the world? As Afghans, we must approach this debate with clarity, neither emotional denial nor blind acceptance. Our goal today is simple: to understand the truth, protect Afghanistan's national interests, and analyze the geopolitical realities shaping this moment. Let's go beyond the noise and get to the facts.
So, Hamdullah, tell me, why was Bagram Airbase so central to US operations, both logistically and politically?
Well, I believe Bagram was central for three major reasons. First, logistically, it was the only Afghan base with dual runways capable of supporting heavy aircraft, drone operations, intelligence platforms, and long-range missions. Everything from airlift to medical evacuation ran through Bagram. And secondly, Bagram symbolized the international commitment to Afghanistan after 2001. It was the command center for a coalition of more than 40 nations. Its presence reassured Afghans that the world was standing with as against any kind of terrorism risk that that Afghanistan was facing. Third, Bagram wasn't just an American base. It was deeply tied to Afghan security forces. Our commandos trained there. Our air force depended on its maintenance hangars, and thousands of Afghan workers earned a living through it. So Bagram mattered not only to Washington but also to Afghanistan's own security architecture and regional stability.
But wasn't the Afghan government already collapsing before Bagram was abandoned?
There is no doubt that the government had problems, corruption, political divisions, fragmentation, that is true. But the sudden abandonment of Bagram accelerated the collapse dramatically. Even a stable military would struggle if its main logistical hub vanished overnight. So yes, internal issues existed, but the manner of withdrawal made the situation far worse.
So, walk us through the night the US left Afghanistan. What went wrong, and why has this become such a big issue in international politics right now?
I believe the problem was not the withdrawal itself. The withdrawal was expected, and we all Afghans were expecting that the US and international forces will withdraw from Afghanistan. The issue was how it was executed. The US left at night without a coordinated handover to Afghan authorities. The electricity was shut off. Afghan commanders were not informed properly. And within hours, parts of the base were looted before Afghan forces could take control. That night created confusion, damaged morale, and sent a signal that the partnership had ended abruptly. A structured, transparent handover could also prevented panic at a sensitive moment, I guess.
So we're talking about a very loosely coordinated process for the for the US troops pullout, but some say that Afghan forces did not fight. Isn't that why everything collapsed?
Well, I think that's not true. It's easy to repeat that claim, but the facts say otherwise. As you know, that over 66,000 Afghan soldiers gave their lives defending the country. That's not an army that refused to fight. There is an army that fought until its supply chain, air support, and salaries collapsed. No military in the world can function when the backbone of its support disappears in days.
So, what were the main immediate security consequences when Parwan prison and Bagram fell? Just tracing back into 2021.
I think the most damaging consequences was the release of thousands of detainees, ISIS-K operatives, Taliban fighters, and other regional militants. Many of the planners of later attacks were among those who escaped. This dramatically increased threats inside Afghanistan and across the region. Beyond the prison release, the fall of Bagram cut Afghan forces off from air support, technical maintenance, and command systems. You know that the command systems were also controlled by the American forces, by the US forces. It accelerated a collapse that was already unfolding politically, unfortunately.
It accelerated a collapse, but the US had to leave. Why blame them? Why are we blaming them now in 2025?
I guess the US leaving Afghanistan was inevitable. There is no doubt about that. But the manner of leaving matters. A responsible exit involves coordination, transition planning, and maintaining stability for local forces. None of that happened to Bagram. This is not a blame. It's simply acknowledging the operational reality. And I have to say this as an Afghan, that Americans were so irresponsible in this regard.
Since 2021, how have the Taliban used the base both politically and symbolically?
I believe that the Taliban used Bagram as a symbol of victory over a superpower and as a narrative tool to strengthen their claim of sovereignty. For them, it's proof that they outlasted the world's strongest military. But operationally, Bagram remains as an Afghan national asset built with billions in international investment. Its political symbolism is strong for the Taliban, but its strategic importance extends beyond their narrative.
So, talking about sovereignty, if the Taliban control the Bagram now, which is our reality, isn't that the end of the story? Shouldn't we just conclude our discussion at this point?
I guess control is one thing and legitimacy is another. Yes, they control facility, but the broader regional, humanitarian, and political implications of that control are ongoing. Bagram's story did not end into 2021. It simply entered a new chapter affecting the entire region.
The sovereignty versus legitimacy, is it realistic legally or practically for any foreign power to reclaim Bagram today?
I believe it's not realistic, and more importantly, it's not legal as well. Bagram is the sovereign territory of Afghanistan. No foreign power can reclaim it without explicit Afghan consent. Any unilateral attempt would create a regional crisis and face resistance internally and externally. Even Washington understands that Afghanistan is no longer a space where unilateral military decisions can be made.
So no unilateral military decisions can be made in Afghanistan, but we do see interest from Washington and pressure, in fact, from Washington in reclaiming this base. What's the guarantee that if the US actually comes back, things would get better?
I believe there is no guarantee, and that's precisely the point. Returning without a clear political roadmap would repeat the same mistakes. Military presence without political strategy is not a solution. It's just a cycle.
Without a clear plan, that's what the US has done in Afghanistan for a very long time. But now we expand the scope of our discussion and we include other regional actors in it as well. So how would Russia, China, Pakistan, and Iran react to a US attempt to return to Bagram and back into the region that they've left 4 years ago?
I believe all four would oppose it, but for different reasons, based on their interests, of course. China would see it as a security risk near Xinjiang. Iran would view it as an encirclement. Russia would probably see it as a challenge to its influence in Central Asia. And Pakistan would oppose any unilateral move that changes the regional balance without consensus. However, Pakistan's position will be profit-driven. They will see their profit. If they have their interest in the US return to Afghanistan, they will definitely be happy for that. Otherwise, they will not be happy because they want more influence in Afghanistan as well. But let's be clear. The primary stakeholder is Afghanistan, not the neighbors. Regional opinions matter. But sovereignty belongs to Afghanistan and the people of Afghanistan only.
Just retracing this discussion a little bit, because you talk about how for Pakistan it would be a profit-driven influence if it occurs at all. In the 20 years that the US has existed or had its presence in Afghanistan, Pakistan also suffered. And why don't the Afghans acknowledge that?
Well, Pakistan did suffer terrorism, refugee pressures, economic challenges. Acknowledging Afghan suffering does not deny Pakistani suffering. Both nations have paid a heavy price. That is exactly why neither of these two countries benefits from new instability around Bagram.
So what does the Bagram episode teach us about military occupation versus political settlement when we look at the bigger picture, the international powers and the regional actors?
I believe the lesson is very simple. We understand that military power can create opportunities, but it cannot build political legitimacy. For 20 years, Afghanistan had world-class military infrastructure, but our political system lacked unity and long-term cohesion. When the political foundation weakened, the military structure could not stand alone. Stability in Afghanistan must come from political consensus, not foreign bases.
And why should regional countries care about Bagram today? Because we do see pockets of conversation, but there's no cohesive sort of a narrative on what needs to be done at a regional level for Bagram.
Because Bagram is a strategic barometer. Any major change, new deployments, foreign flights, sudden upgrades, signals shift in a regional geopolitics. For Pakistan, Iran, China, and Central Asia, it acts as an early warning indicator of what might come next.
So in Afghanistan, we're currently seeing a gender apartheid that's going on, and again, regional actors have not been able to sort of solve the issue of what's being done to the Afghan women, specifically in Afghan girls. But at the same time, there's poverty that keeps increasing. So what are the humanitarian and human rights implications of Bagram's transition, if at all it happens?
Well, gender apartheid is a bigger issue. It has to be addressed with some international pressure on Taliban as well. And regarding the humanitarian or human rights implication of the Bagram's transition, you know that thousands of workers lost their jobs. The release of prisoners increased civilian vulnerability. With fewer international observers, transparency in detention, and due process has declined. These issues are not ideological, they are humanitarian. Ordinary Afghans pay the price when major strategic hubs collapse, like the one existed in Parwan and Bagram.
So, as an Afghan, is there any scenario where you see a foreign power returning and the situation improving in any way?
I believe only with Afghan government consent and under current political conditions, that is highly unlikely. Realistically, no major power wants a new escalation, whether it's regional or whether it's the US or other.
How should journalists verify claims by leaders like Donald Trump?
I believe that they should assess claims based on feasibility, legality, and diplomatic reality, not rhetoric. Military action is not decided through campaign speeches. It requires logistics, regional agreements, and clear authorization. So journalists should not only spread rumors based on some election campaigns speeches.
Are these reports just propaganda in your opinion, or is it something that's probably going to happen in the next few months?
Most such claims lack evidence. Serious analysis depends on satellite imagery, official communication, and confirmed troop movements, not political noise or social media rumors.
So currently, as you know, as a Pakistani and as an Afghan, our countries are not seeing eye to eye currently. And for people nervous about re-escalation of these regional power dynamics, what warning signs should they watch out for?
I believe they should monitor three important things. Number one could be US troop movements in the Gulf and Central Asia. Two would be coordinated statements from defense officials. And the third one would be sudden diplomatic activity among regional powers. These are real indicators, not headlines or political talk.
Great. And as a last question, who benefits from spreading rumors about Bagram and, again, regional escalation in the coming months?
Well, different actors have different motives. Political groups, for example, seeking relevance, influencers chasing views, and external powers testing public reaction. Rumors are tools, which is why our analysis must be evidence-based, not based on rumors.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for this wonderful, insightful conversation.
And I'd like to add one thing, that Afghanistan doesn't need a new battlefield. It needs stability. Bagram's future must be decided by Afghans based on our national interests, not by rumors or foreign political debates.
Not by foreign political debates. On this note, thank you so much, Hamdullah. We will definitely circle back on this conversation in the next couple of weeks and see where we are at in international politics and Bagram Airbase in Afghanistan. Thank you. This was Remshay Ahmed and Hamdard on our conversation on Bagram Airbase. Thank you for your wonderful insights, Mr. Hamdard, and telling us exactly what's going to happen with the Bagram Airbase and what to expect next.
Thank you for watching this important conversation. Bagram is not just a military base, it's the symbol of Afghanistan's past, present, and its uncertain future. As Afghans, our responsibility is to analyze events with maturity, avoid emotional manipulation, and protect our country's long-term interests. Whether global powers come or go, Afghanistan remains. And the future of Bagram, like the future of our nation, must be shaped by informed debate, not by rumors. If you found this discussion useful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. This is the Hamid Rem Show, bringing clarity where confusion dominates. Allah Hafiz. The Khudai Paman. Goodbye.